we have another big weekend ahead of us. It's the USA Indoor Championships, which will take place in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ashley and I will be on the ground there as well. So we kind of went through the different entries, and we've been observing some key storylines and also some key performers that we think could do something special. And again, I love how we're about to have a whole conversation about some of these. So
Yes.
Ashley, who are some athletes that you saw, maybe that you're curious about, or maybe you're just excited to see as we move into the weekend?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how I want to break this down.
Yeah, how do you want to break it? That's why I'm
down-
like, I'll let you go first.
Maybe we should divide it up by event group. How
Okay,
about that?
let's do
divide
that.
it up by event group. How about let's start with distance, because that's the first thing I see on my sheet here.
Perfect. Let's do distance.
Interesting storylines here. Obviously, we saw some of these athletes compete at Melrose this past weekend. They're now going to go to USA Indoors and run. I'm going to start with Yard Naguse here. I had a chance to chat with him before Melrose, before he competed in that mile, excuse me. And he was, he told me, he was like, yeah, the goal is to go to USA Indoors and then go on to hopefully qualify for World Indoor Championships. However, I don't know if people necessarily predicted that he'd be doing the 3K. So he is not running the 1,500 meters this weekend, but he will be running the 3K. He's gone 7:28, I believe, in that event. So obviously he's going to be kind of that front runner there, but it's interesting. So I think I was reading a little bit, some of the tactics behind that is, he, for the 3K, it's run as a final. There's no prelims. So that's like less amount of racing and amount of races he has to do at less rounds. So maybe just trying to stay fresh during this indoor season. Obviously with the sights on Paris. So that's going to be interesting. Any thoughts there?
Yes, I was just looking up the events schedule. So yeah, he'll be running Friday evening. Yeah, at 8:00 at night for So I think that's a smart move. And of course, the conversations I was having with a lot of the pros while we were at Milrose was like the stepping stones, just where you are right now. Why is indoor so important for some of these athletes? And obviously most of them are training through it. So they're like, it's just building confidence for a lot of these athletes, but also it kind of showcases where they are right now, what they need to focus on. And so I applaud Yard Naguse for kind of being smart about that move and just thinking, hey, it's a final, one race, let's do it, build more strength. He already looks strong over the weekend too.
For sure.
So, why not?
Exactly.
Which I think is great.
Moving on to some more distance stuff. Can we talk about Hobbs Kessler for a second? Hobbs Kessler. I'm just very, he ran 3:48 this past weekend at Milrose Games, and he's going to be in the 1,500. I'm just curious how fast he can go. That's all I have to say.
I think it's going to be fast.
I mean, I guess the one thing to consider is that it is in Albuquerque, so it's going to be at elevation.
Right.
Probably going to see something more tactical, but I'm just really curious. Maybe it's just a matter of like, can we see him ramp something up at the end if it is a tactical race? Again, I think he's one of those. He's entered the chat. He is here. Is this the year of Hobbs Kessler? Maybe. I don't know.
I go yes.
I say yes because I want to be positive about that, and I'm really encouraged by how I've seen him race. So for me, he's definitely going to be that front runner there in the 1,500 for the men.
Yeah. Speaking of 1,500, you also have Addie Wiley, who will be doubling. They in the 15. Interesting. But I think Addie has that strength right now. She looks very strong. And I just think she's going to do remarkable things in that double. How many rounds is it? Do you know? Let's see. Actually,
to be honest, I haven't fully looked.
I have it. Let's see. Okay, so there is the first round, which is Friday at 4:48.
Is that of the 15 or the 800?
That's the 800. And then the final obviously will be the next day at 2:58. Now, this is interesting. So there is, I see the final of the 1,500, which will be at 3:25. So she's literally going to run the 8, then it's the men's 8, the men's 4, and then it's the women's 1,500. That might be a little. That's 25 minutes.
I will say this about Addie Wiley, though. Like, when she was running for Huntington University in the NAIA, I mean, she, I think quadrupled or something at indoor championships for NAIA. So, she's no stranger to, having to bounce back and really just put down some good efforts. So, and again, she's in her first, she recently turned pro as well, running for Adidas, I believe. And so, I think I'm really curious to see how she does. I was really impressed with how she ran at USA Senior Championships last outdoor season. Just missed out on making the world team. So I think she has a legit chance to make this team.
Goodness gracious. 20 minutes though. I see this as a workout.
Or she could end up scratching an event as well.
Yeah, very true.
Could be strategic.
Yeah. So maybe you declare for both and then decide
make your decision.
which one you want to do.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I feel like we're in this momentum of going down the event. So
Yeah.
who's next?
So actually what I want to shift to now is it looks like someone in the chat was asking about field events.
Yes.
Do we
Okay.
talk about the field events right now? I know we wrote some notes down about some of the athletes we're excited to see.
Yeah, I'll let you take this one.
Okay, sounds good. I know we saw Ryan Krauser
Yes.
on the entry list in the men's shot put. Really excited to see what he could do there. If if he's going to come and compete there. I'm also really curious about. So this is an interesting storyline. This is part of one of my hot predictions.
I don't think it's
indoors.
hot though.
Me and Corey were talking about this actually yesterday at the office. So in the women's high jump, obviously you have Vashti Cunningham, who's been at the top of the U.S. women's high jump for quite some time. But you're also going to have a high schooler in this field, Jayciana Jarrow-Holt. And I believe she enters as like the third or fourth best seed in this event. And it's kind of a wide open event besides Vashti.
Yep.
And I really think that she can make this world team.
I think she can.
Corey, what are your thoughts
It
there?
is her opener for 2024, so
True.
she's coming into it a little fresh. But there's only 9 women entered in the high jump.
Yeah.
And she's the third seed, tied with another woman. Obviously, I think it's possible. She cleared 6'1.5" at USA U20s last year. She is one of the strongest female athletes that we have in high school today. So, and we've seen it before. Vashti won a world indoor championship at 18. So, there's a nice little synergy there with those two.
Yeah, I feel like it's Vashti, and then that it's kind of open, like you said. After that, I would not be surprised if Jayciana Jarrow-Holt makes this team.
Yeah,
and it's interesting that this is her season opener, so it kind of makes me a little weary. Just like where exactly is she at this very moment? But she has experience competing at the USA Track and Field Indoor Championships back in 2022. She was 8th. She cleared 5'10" and a quarter. 3/4. That was her only indoor meet of the year. And then last year she finished 5th, where she cleared 6 feet and a half inch and finished 5th. So if you just continue building off that, it's looking pretty solid for her.
She was a sophomore last year.
Yeah, she was a sophomore.
So
Yeah.
she's very, very young.
Yeah.
But
But still, the fact that she's been able to compete against these athletes and just kind of surrounding herself with that all the talented individuals there, I feel like she puts herself in a really great bucket, I guess you can say.
For sure. So yes, I will definitely be keeping my eye on that women's high jump there. Also, I think worth noting too, one other event I think just off the top of the mind, field events I'm looking forward to is that men's pole vault. I know we saw Casey Lightfoot, Chris Nielsen battle this weekend in Millrose. Is really just kind of a fun competition for them. They're ones that they were childhood friends. They grew up with each other. So they love competing against each other, and you add them and Sam Kendricks into the mix. Because U.S. pole vault is obviously on another level right now, so I think that'll be one to watch out for as well.
Yeah. All right, I'm ready for some speed.
We talking about the sprints?
Can we talk about the sprints?
Go ahead.
Let's talk about the biggest storyline, I think, from the sprint side.
Okay.
We have Noah Lyles and Christian Coleman both declared they're competing in the 60. Let's just say it all goes through smoothly and we're in the final. What do you what is your prediction with this?
My prediction. Well, okay, so maybe we need to start off by giving some context to their seasons. Noah Lyles has already gone 6:44, I believe, New Balance Grand Prix. Christian Coleman just ran 6:51 in his season opener at Millrose Games. Not, he had a little bit of a challenge there, but he comes away with the win. I feel like every week we have some sort of conversation about Noah Lyles, and I just don't know how to feel because, again, they're both very different racers. Noah Lyles, even if when you watch that 6:44 that he ran, he still didn't get out well. He still did not get out well.
Yeah.
It's just, but his top end speed, you can't match that. So I guess the question is, will he get out better? B, we know Christian Coleman is a great starter. Can his start hold off Noah Lyles? Or how's that going to work out? Personally, I guess I'll probably go with Noah just because the way I saw him come back in that 60 was pretty impressive at New Balance.
Yeah.
But I also would definitely not be surprised if Christian Coleman gets this. I mean, he is the world record holder in this event.
Right. I feel like my brain goes in two different directions, kind of how you're feeling. I feel like right now, confidence level, I think Noah's a little bit higher up on the scale than Christian Coleman is.
Yeah.
No fault to Christian Coleman, but the energy that Noah is bringing out onto the track right now, and just coming off of the season that he had last year, I'm not surprised that he's like up here right now. He's enjoying the moment. He's running fast. Again, we talk about this, I feel like, every week. The start needs to clear up because Christian Coleman is not going to have a bad start. It's ingrained in Christian Coleman's body. Like, react, get out aggressively, hold on. My guess, I feel like it's gonna be a toss up. If Christian Coleman can get out aggressively like he normally does, I feel like he will win indoor, like the indoor title. If Noah Lyles has a better start, then we're gonna have a race because I feel like Noah Lyles has that top end speed right now that Christian Coleman has not showed me yet. He might have it, we just haven't tapped into it yet.
True.
So those are my thoughts. I feel like Corey.
I
feel
just
Corey
need
back
your
here.
reactions.
No, I'm just the world record he set was 2018.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Yep.
Who's the best sprinter in the world right now?
Noah Lyles.
Noah
Exactly.
Lyles.
When do you win the 60-meter race? At the line.
Yeah.
So I get that you're talking about like the start here, but we've seen so many times that you can overcome that.
Yeah.
Very true.
I don't know if you ever get a better start than Christian Coleman,
True.
but you've beaten him before.
Yeah.
At the line, and
Yep.
it's about those crucial like 40 to 60, right? The last 20 meters is when you're building the most power. So I don't doubt that Noah's in better form right now. Obviously, it's just a matter of who you're pulling for, who's your guy.
Yeah, that's
Who's the
true.
guy?
Who's the guy? I'll say Noah. You say
I'm going with Christian Coleman here.
Coleman. Corey says Noah.
Noah,
Well,
yeah.
we'll see what happens next week.
I didn't say Noah.
Okay. You
to Noah.
come on.
I didn't say Noah.
So what are you
Oh
saying?
man, that's a 50-50 for me.
Yeah, that's the
a coin.
problem.
That's a coin toss.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a coin toss.
Yeah.
Noah,
I'll go-
Christian, coin toss.
I'll go. Yeah. I'll go.
Okay.
Coin toss.
Okay.
Coin toss.
Corey
Okay.
won't commit.
All right, sticking on the 60, I feel like we could see an LSU Tiger sweep here on the women's side.
Yes.
1-2 finish. Aaliyah
Yes.
Hobbs, Micaiah Briscoe. For me, those are the two heavy favorites going in. Hobbs has already gone 7:05 just a few weeks ago in Fayetteville. Briscoe went 7:10 at the track also just a few weeks ago. I feel like they're training together, looking strong.
Yeah.
1-2.
I mean, Hobbs has
1-2
always
punch.
been so good in that women's
Yes.
60 that, like, she definitely, for me, is the favorite here. And then, like you said, Micaiah Briscoe looked really strong as well. So I can't argue with that. I would totally agree with you.
Wow.
With your prediction right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my thought. It's just they look really strong right now. There's
Yes.
no doubt about it.
Agreed.
All right. Any other events, storylines that you would like to discuss?
Maybe we can maybe I'll throw out some nuggets on here.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yes. Nuggets. Go ahead.
Middle distance, I will say Brandon Miller in that 800 I think is going to be really interesting. Obviously, we played our top moments from the weekend a few minutes ago, and he clocked the world lead 114 the 600 at the Don Kirby Elite Invitational. So to me, I'm like, hey, Brandon Miller's in form. Brandon is back. Like, he, I think, is more motivated than ever.
Yeah.
He's now training with Brooks Beast, so he's had a change. But it seems like that change is working out really well for him, and I'm really excited to see what he can do in this 800.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great. I think on my end, the men's 400, I feel like it's very stacked. And it's going to
Yes.
be a race to the finish. You have Matthew Bowling, who's already gone 45, 47 this year. You have Bryce Deadman, Trevor Bassett's in this mix, Ryan Wiley, Elijah Godwin, Will London. Gosh, there's so many names in this 400 who have declared that I'm like, okay, Matthew Bowling, I could see making this team. All the other names, though, I'm like, wow, it's stacked. So I feel like it's going to be a race.
It's interesting because I feel like there's no, and it's been like this. I feel like it was like this last year as well. There's no clear favorite, I think, in the men's 400. Like,
right.
There's just a lot of guys in the mix that, like, on any given day, they could have the best race and, grab a qualifying spot for World Indoors, for instance. That, yeah, I think it's going to be really curious. Really curious to see what Matthew Bowling's going to do. Bryce Deadman as well. Trevor Bassett, who is, he's the 400-meter hurdler.
Yeah.
Elijah Godwin, I believe he's in his first season as a pro as well.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah. So many great things.
I know.
So many great
So
things.
much to talk about USA's that I know we're all looking forward to.
Can we just talk about your hot prediction real quick? The last one that you have.
My last prediction.
Well, technically the first one on the dock, but it's the last one we're going to discuss.
Oh.
I feel like we need to talk about this.
Yeah.
I want to know what the chat thinks about your hot prediction.
This one right here, the one that I'm highlighting?
Yes, that one.
Okay. We'll end our indoor discussion with my hot take and maybe have some discussion. Obviously, we mentioned earlier that Grant Holloway, he's going to be here in the men's 60-meter hurdles. Again, he's undefeated since high school in this event. I would not be surprised if you're in Albuquerque at altitude, he breaks his own world record. He's already come close to that already this past weekend in Paris. So I would not be surprised if he breaks it. That's my hot prediction. World record. Again, hey, we're going to be there. I'm going to be there. Anywhere I go, it seems there's at least a world record. So I'm going to say it.
Okay, I need the chat to let us know what they think about Ashley's hot prediction. I get it. I get where your brain is coming from. I don't know if we're going to see a world record in New Mexico.
Grant Holloway does not come to play in indoors.
I totally agree with that. I can see it happening later. Like
when? Later?
At indoor championships. That's where personally I would want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it
I think it's going to happen.
at trials.
Why not?
He's been so close, so I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. But at the same time, I'm like, okay.
He literally almost broke it this past weekend.
I know he did.
It's just literally you don't even have to make any tweaks. Just run basically the same race and you're just a little bit faster. So I don't know. Corey, thoughts?
Thoughts?
I think he's the overwhelming favorite. He's going to win. I don't know about 7.29, breaking world record. My larger question actually stays here at the 60-meter hurdles is who's getting the second spot?
True.
Daniel Roberts, Trey Cunningham, Cordell Tinch, all in the mix here. Only 2 go.
Yeah.
Which of those men besides Grant are going to be, earning that bid to World Indoors? I think you have to. I mean, all 3 are capable. You probably have, a lot of questions about what it's going to take.
Yeah, I'm trying to
pull up. I know we saw
so
Cordell Tinch.
Milrose.
Yeah, Milrose. Yep.
Dylan Beard set a facility record, personal best 744. Daniel Roberts was second, 751. Trey Cunningham was third, 752. Cordell Tinch, fourth, 752.
I think it's probably going to be either Daniel Roberts or Trey Cunningham, if I have to say. Obviously, based on those results, Daniel Roberts had the better showing at Milrose, so he may be a little bit more fresh. But I will say, I think it was a few weeks ago, Trey Cunningham ran a pretty solid race in Gainesville, I believe. I can't remember the time off my head. But, I mean, he just kind of shot out like a rocket. So if he can have a race like that where he looks good in form, it could be him as well, I believe.
I think I'm leaning more towards Daniel Roberts. That's who you said, right? You were thinking Daniel Roberts for that second spot? Or who would you say?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, I think after just seeing Daniel Roberts this past weekend, he looks solid, and I feel like he has a slight edge to him. I don't even know what it is. I'm like, it's Daniel Roberts. So my guess is going to be Daniel for that second spot. Corey, who do you predict?
Cordell.
Oh, okay.
I feel like he has to clean up things, though.
Yeah,
I feel like he has to clean up his race.
Not to take Corey's job, but someone in the chat was like, yeah, Cordell needs to clean up his technique, but he's so talented, which is true.
Yeah, it's very true. He's very, very talented. That is factual.
And obviously he has such a great story, too, as well, where he's come from in his journey. Obviously, we'll be rooting for him, but, yeah, we'll have to see what happens
hard
on the day.
it's only 2.
I know.
It's hard.
Yes, very hard.
So...
Yes.
Awesome. All right. Well,
one comment from indoors that this is just a general comment that came. Hobbs will make the team in Paris for outdoor. You were talking about Hobbs earlier. Camp Eagle says Hobbs will make the team.
That'll be interesting. As we've seen, the women's 100, 200 been very competitive over the last year and past couple years. Obviously, we know some other figures that will be in that aren't competing indoors. Yeah. So I like that. That's a good hot take.